Oh yeah, welcome back to another rendition of Floral Foolishness.
Sports.
Oh my gosh, we actually got it right this time,
Fucking
even
killing
though
life right
we're
now.
on island time. But oh my gosh, I'm all like, I'm in just like a glass case of dark emotions and feelings with with no video. I better fix that. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me find it. I'm like a millennial, so I don't know how to use Zoom like every other millennial ever. Oh yeah. It's that 4x3 video, baby. We coming to
the,
you.
the sun never sets on a badass. Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. This week is gonna be fucking outrageous. All right. If you're listening, all right, I got Biggie in the background. I got Barney, the fucking pink dinosaur in the background.
It's
I
perfect.
also finally got my fucking straw hat. So now we're fucking
Ain't
going.
no sun getting in this motherfucker. Ain't no sun burning you today.
Nope, no sun, all shade, baby. That's what we're delivering this week on Floral
Fuck yeah.
Foolishness, where we debate the current topics in the sports world and society around it, no matter how unbelievable or ridiculous they or we may be, all while rocking all the crunchy island vibe. Let's fucking go. I'm Stotsy. Got my crew with me. Also got Jay, the Dragon
Fuck
Wrangler.
yeah.
As always, we're going to start with opening statements. So, Jay, tell the people something.
So I had a few lined up, and I might still get to them here, but I'm going to start with it. Now that I'm living in Columbia, South Carolina, or Irmo to be specific, you would think, that being the capital of South Carolina, that it's like a real city. It's not. It's just as fucking southern as any other city here.
Can't
Driving
compare.
home 5 minutes ago, I saw the most southern fucking thing I have ever seen. Stacey, we're going to play a guessing game here.
I like games.
I'm going to ask you, what did I see? What was the event? And what establishment was it in the parking lot of? You get three guesses.
Ooh, okay. So it's a twofer. I'm going to type this out just so I have it because I don't want to fuck up the game.
Okay.
So you're saying what
What
event
event
did you
and what was it
witness
in the parking lot of?
in the parking lot? Okay, and I get three tries. All right, so times three.
My apartment complex is basically in like the suburbs. So there's like a whole bunch of box stores, some restaurants, a couple movie theaters, everything you could ever ask for. So what happened and in what's parking lot? And it is the most southern fucking thing I have ever seen in front of a crowd of probably 34 people. Very relevant here.
Okay. I think I have this one down. What event did you see? You saw a lobster knife fight in the parking lot of a Long John Silver's.
Lobsters are too northern. Strike one.
Ooh, but you didn't say no for LJS, so
It was also not at an LJS, but
fuck.
good guess. Good guess.
Okay. So what event did I? Okay, so you probably witnessed a revival at a Chili's.
That is pretty southern and a great guess. 0 for 2.
For fuck's sakes. Okay. The only other thing you would have seen is a jacked up F-150 truck show at an Applebee's.
Ooh, you were so fucking close on that. Let me give you a
Let's
hint.
go.
Let me give you a fucking hint.
It's a fucking monster truck.
That's the monster truck. I saw a fucking gravedigger in the fucking parking lot of a Texas Roadhouse. Let's fucking go.
Oh my god, dear listener, welcome to the unhinged episode of Floral Foolishness Sports. That's how we're fucking starting it with goddamn Gravedigger in a fucking Texas Roadhouse.
Not making this up. I drive by the Texas Roadhouse. I look over, there's a crowd of people. I'm like, I wonder what's going on here. Why are they all at the front of the parking lot and not in line to go inside of this fine establishment? I look over, fucking gravedigger. What's going on? I assume because they're lowering it off of a jack. These front tires right here, these guys on this side are taken off and is basically fucking dune buggy tires getting put on. So now it's a doggy style gravedigger with the front down and the back up. And I think the whole demonstration was how does gravedigger go doggy style in a parking lot of a Texas Roadhouse. It's fucking incredible.
Oh, God bless. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So we're off to a fucking rousing goddamn start.
You know how like sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, you went to the mall, but that's not the real Santa. This was the real fucking gravedigger. There's only one. Let's go, motherfucker."
You, you saw a gravedigger at night.
At twilight, the sun is setting. But I saw him in the parking lot of a Texas Roadhouse. That's for damn sure.
Dude, I mean, fuck, you saw a gravedigger trying out for a fucking Mr. Worldwide song, like fucking like what hood down, booty up, darling.
Hood down, booty up, fireball, gravedigger.
God,
I
I
can't
think
wait for us to get to the Nardo at some point here because it's like all my grave diggers in the club think that them white booty bitches are great. That needs to be a song if it's not already.
oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get there. We actually have a specified Nardo Wick portion.
Oh yeah.
Normally we just kind of are like, yeah, we're bored, let's
It
do
just
that.
kind of happens. No,
Yeah.
it's actually set now.
Yeah, it's very, very much set. Wow, I should have went first for the
Yeah.
opening
Well,
statements
do you
here.
want me to tone it down first? I have another one that I was going to talk
No,
about.
oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Go for it. Do it.
No, it's okay. So I saw this meme the other day, but I kind of love the idea behind it because like the NFL offseason is a lot going on, right? Like a lot of teams are making moves. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is in Green Bay now. Just yesterday, the Texans traded for Stephon Diggs, which is fucking awesome. And the tweet that I saw said, another year of wondering how funny it'd be if NFL teams didn't announce offseason trades or signings and fans simply found out by seeing who ran onto the field week one out of the tunnel. And just thinking about that live, like there's too much access in professional sports because they're right. Imagine if you're like a Falcons fan and you're sitting there just sinning with your alcohol in hand, and next thing you know, Kirk Cousins walks out of the tunnel and is like, "Put that alcohol down, you sinner." You're like, "Whoa, we got Kirk Cousins! Wow, my life's gonna be so much cleaner now. I think I've just gone straight edge." Imagine if you're sitting in Green Bay and you're like, "Why did Aaron Jones cut off his dreadlocks?" Oh, fuck, it's Josh Jacobs.
Let's go.
You're in Houston, and you're like, "Man, our pass rush blows and we can't catch football." Oh, wait, Danielle Hunter, Stephon Diggs. Holy shit, this is going to be a great year.
Oh yeah, and take names off of the jerseys for week one to add more confusion.
Let them try to figure out. You have to guess who the receiver is.
Yeah.
They don't even get a number. They get like A, B, C, D, E, or just their jersey numbers for the week. Wow, that XX receiver is pretty fucking good. I wonder if that's Justin Jefferson.
And have them run out too in helmets and full gear too. So you have no fucking clue. You have no chance.
No shot in hell. You're not allowed to take your helmet off on the sideline either. You're on the phone. You just see Kirk Cousins trying to be polite and be on the phone with his OC. His helmet's on. It's just like, "I can't hear you, coach. Sir, can you talk a little louder, sir?" He's like trying to like put in like a face mask. Like, I'm trying.
We have the technology to beam this right into my helmet, but the phone is so much easier to use.
It's not even a cellular phone. It's attached by a wire.
All of a sudden, you hear what sounds like fucking Tron eating goddamn like Optimus Prime. And it's like, oh, somebody's trying to get on the internet, it seems.
I'd like to think that Kirk Cousins is just like, "Yeah, I prefer my phone's hardwired. It's a better time back before the Clay Aikens of the world made this place despicable."
When they had that DSL internet, I had to go to church for a week straight. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good. Honestly, that might be a great way that the NFL, like, like 20, 30 years ago, if they'd have thought of this then, like, they could have actually made the preseason relevant for a game,
Can you
right?
imagine?
Yeah.
You would sell out preseason openers.
Mhm.
Why are we not in marketing? We say this every episode. Somebody needs to pick us up.
Yeah, no shit, man. No shit.
I think there's like a bonus for it too. You pick like 100 drunk fans for your team. And like each week they have to be plaster drunk when they try to figure this out. They're not allowed to be sober. But it's like if you can guess the right player at that position, your new acquisition, you get like that guy gets like a like Madden boost. Like his rating goes up by 5 points. It's like if Russell Wilson's in Pittsburgh and he's a starting quarterback and they haven't guessed it yet, he's got like like 2 pound ankle weight on his throwing arm. And as soon as they're like, oh, that's Russell Wilson, it's like, fuck yeah, like it's taken off. Now you can throw again. And they're like, oh no, that's let's see, that guy is probably Malik Willis. You're like, nope, now you get a 5 pound ankle weight. Be better, drunk Pittsburgh citizens.
And that goes into a whole socio-cultural thing too. Ask the white fans to identify the African American players. Yeah, have fun with that one. Think about that. I just called everybody a fucking racist, but
You also have to
I'm
you also have to
right.
spell it and say it right. Is that the Juwan the Dijon hand? Is that Dijon hand?
Oh,
That's
God.
Bijan Robinson. Oh yeah, Bijan Robinson running down the field.
Yeah, man, wow, so many opportunities missed. I can tell why we're not marketers because we fly way too close to the fucking sun.
Yeah, the NFL's not ready. I also think when you're like, Dominic Rogers Cromartie or whichever one it was, Antonio Cromartie, I think it was, and you don't know, it's like if you can't name your 14 children, you have a disadvantage. For everyone you get right, you get it back. So it's like we're going to put 14 pounds of weights in your shoes. And for each one of your 14 kids that you can name, you get one less pound in your shoes. So he's basically at like 8 pounds in his shoes right now.
For whatever reason, I think Philip Rivers would have wanted more weights.
Weigh me down. I'm not a runner. I'm throwing.
Every day is grind day before I go home and fuck my wife and get her pregnant again.
Do you think Philip Rivers and Kirk Cousins are like homies? Do you think they have like an a cappella group together?
It could be one of those matches made in hell. I think it could have
Cousins.
happened.
It's called like consensual cousins over a river.
Cousins,
The a cappella experience.
cousins, cousins on
And
the
it's
river.
and then they have like a falling out, like Hall and Oates style, where it's like the falling outs because Philip's like, yeah, no sex before marriage, and then no birth control when in marriage. And Kirk Cousins is like, no sex even in marriage. That's a sin, Philip. All of my children have come from immaculate conception through God. My wife, whose name I forget but picks out his khakis, has only had sex with the Lord.
I'm not gonna go that far for. Oh, no. She's only had sex with dark cousins. That's who.
Every now and then, she has one Zima, and next thing you know, dark cousin shirts off. She just can't help herself with that khaki white skin on those khaki colored pants.
So much khaki. Oh, I wish I had auto tune for that. That would have been great.
So much khaki.
Khaki, yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, that's a really good opening statement. And what a way to fucking set the goddamn tone. You gotta set the tone,
Set
Gems.
the tone.
Set the fucking tone.
Set the fucking tone.
All right. So
My
now that
shirt
that's
matches Gravedigger. Let's fucking go.
God, it actually does for those of you listening and
That
not
was
watching.
not intentional at all.
Oh,
Sometimes this show just fucking works.
sometimes the dumbass stars align and you get us at our
Almost every
worst.
time we do it, weirdly.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of fucking weird. Yeah, all right. So my opening statement isn't gonna go so far down that road that we just went on so far. I just want to say, hey, I want to give a hearty welcome to your 2025 Sacramento Athletics. Let's hear it for them, boys. Let's fucking hear it for them. Yeah. So if you didn't hear the news on the day of this recording, the Oakland A's said, "Fuck you, Oakland. We're gonna go and play in a AAA goddamn ballpark with 10,000 seats in
Well,
Sacra fucking."
they get 3,000 people at their games. So what are we going to do with the other 7,000 seats?
Dude, the ticket prices and like the ticket packages are going to be so awesome. It's like, hey, buy like a Sacramento, I think they're the River Cats, I think, season ticket package, and then you get like a half season for the A's for free. That'd be great.
You might get better attendance at the River Cats games.
That that's what Woody Page said earlier on that one show,
Around the Horn.
Around the Horn. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what he was saying. He was like, yeah, I'd like to compare attendance because yeah, you both are probably fucking right on that. Obvious. So 2025 to 2027, Oakland A's, soon to be the Sacramento A's, will be playing there before they move on to Las Vegas.
Oh
And
no, your
then
internet stability is questioning itself. No, no.
not again. God, and come on, I'm on 4x3. Like, come on. I went old school because it's a totally 90s reference. Fuck. Oh
Yeah, but
well.
did you say Biggie, Biggie, Biggie 3 times in a mirror? Because if so, he'll kill your internet.
So that explains it. I mean,
So
I think he can see that my shitty internet just hypnotizes every fucking buddy else. So yeah, there it is.
Biggie, 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 can you see how Purple Barn is to me? Not pink.
Pink, purple, whatever the fuck he is. It's fucking creepy. I love it. I
Fuck
just
yeah.
I just typed in like Biggie Smalls Barney picture, and this is what came up. And so, you're stuck with it now. I didn't think such a thing existed, but God bless the internet. Probably God bless Reddit. God
Yeah,
bless
I can
Reddit.
see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into the show. Um, wow, yeah, we've actually spent a lot of time, but that's okay. Hey, welcome to the
Fuck yeah.
show. Let's get into some content. So this week, we start by continuing our undisputed, industry leading, unmatched, in-depth dumbass coverage of women's basket hoops. In particular, the NCAA tournament right now. So
We
we
might be
head
the most in-depth coverage there is on NCAA women's basketball right now. We've talked about it 3 weeks in a row.
I was going to say in-depth dumbass coverage. I think that's how. I mean, that's not a lie whatsoever.
Oh, we're by no means qualified to cover NCAA women's basketball. That's accurate.
No, no, I would get dunked on by every single walk on.
I tried to watch the Iowa, whoever they played the other day, USC, the UConn, whoever they played, UConn USC game the other day.
Oh
And
no, I think we lost you there on the audio there, bud.
no, you lost yourself. I'm good to go. I tried to watch the UConn USC game the other day and it was blacked out. And then when I tried to watch it on Stream East, it was blacked out again. So I didn't even get to watch that game. So I've seen 0 women's basketball games this season. But we're going to fucking rage. Let's talk about some women's hoops for the 3rd week in a row.
Let's go. Let's fucking do it. So yeah, as our credentials suggest, yeah, we're really good at this. So we're gonna head to beautiful, always sunny Albany, New York,
Fuck yeah.
for the Sweet 16 game between Oregon State and Notre Dame. In the second quarter, officials told Notre Dame freshman star Hannah Hidalgo.
Hannah Hidalgo.
Indeed. That she would need to leave play and would not be allowed to return until her nose ring had been removed. Officials went on to tell her that simply covering the nose ring would not suffice and that it would need to be completely removed. This forced Hidalgo to miss
H
4
is
minutes.
for Hidalgo. I is for in no way is my name not Hidalgo. D is for don't you know I am Hidalgo.
Yeah, yeah. So she ends up missing 4 minutes and 9 seconds of the game as the athletic training staff struggled to remove her jewelry. Post game, the NCAA cited Rule 1, Section 25, Article 7, which states, quote, head decorations, headwear, helmets, and jewelry are illegal.
Whoa, are you
So
a member
Notre
of the
Dame would go
NCAA?
on to
It
lose the
sounds just
game
like it.
70-65 behind Hidalgo's worst performance of the season on a 4 for 17 shooting for 10 points night. Also worth noting that Hidalgo wore her nose ring with no issue for every other game this season. So, Jay, is the NCAA right in this scenario?
Yeah. No, they're not. So here's my issue with ridiculous rules like that, right? So the whole point behind it is safety. And in theory, it makes sense for a safety perspective that if you have like an eyebrow ring coming out, you probably can't play with that, right? If you've got like a fucking gauge earring the size that somebody could like punch through it, it probably doesn't make sense to have that. The issue is officials take this sometimes to the letter. And the bigger issue is they do that when they want to influence a game or like try to make a name for themselves. Like, I think part of the issue with officiating in general is it's like, oh, this guy was willing to make that call. We need to promote him. That's yeah, no, he's got the balls these other guys don't. She played a women's basketball season. The regular season is like 32 games. Notre Dame's in the ACC for women's basketball, so that's another like I don't know 5 games in the ACC tournament. So we're like 35 to 37 games in at this point, and nobody's had an issue with it. And it's a Sweet 16 game, which means we're like 40 games in, and nobody's had an issue. Suddenly, after a quarter, which she wasn't trying to hide it, like after a quarter, you're like, wait, nope, nope, nope. I didn't notice that nose ring for the first 12 minutes of this game. But now I saw it, or 10 minutes, whatever the fucking quarters are. I think they're 10 minutes of women's basketball.
I
Now
think
I
they're
saw
12.
it though. You've been sneaking around too long, but now I caught you in the second quarter. You got to take it out.
Yeah, it's like what player is cognizantly going after the first quarter of not playing with something like, oh, my lucky nose ring, or oh, my lucky jewelry or
Yeah.
grill or whatever. Who fucking does that?
And it's not like it was as simple as like, oh, we'll just take this side out and then it comes out. Like athletic trainers, not to get graphic for a minute here, but basically they struggled to get it out. So when they finally ripped it out, she was bleeding. So then she still couldn't go in because they ripped it out, which was its own issue on top of that. Point is being is like the whole point of this is player safety. And the reason the rule exists is to protect the player. She's played 40 games this year without it being an issue. And it's not a big enough distraction that it's been an issue. It's really, really, really weird to me that in the second quarter of this game, all of a sudden this is an issue. If you like, it's not like you saw ahead of time. Like, if you're an official, you saw the opening faceoff that this starting player, who's their best player, who you know about going into it because you know there's 5 players on a court, their best player, you know who she is, you know what she looks like, you know what she does. And suddenly in the second quarter, we're going to make a big deal about it. Something about that is weird to me. And if you're Notre Dame in this scenario, I don't know what repercussion there is to be taken. But as far as I'm concerned, in a 5-point game, your best player gets pulled out in the second. When she's on a run, she can't get hot coming back out of it. The NCAA cost Notre Dame this game, plain and simple.
Yeah, and do we know like what ref called that foul on her?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the inside part out loud. Um, Refs are fucking sexist pricks.
They're also
Full
stupid.
stop. Yeah, they're also much dumber in a much more negligible way than we will ever be. But full stop. What the fuck? She even, if you dig into this, even like at a very cursory level, um, she even told ESPN that the NCAA said that that would be fine that she wore this before the game. Like she checked with the NCAA. This isn't like some ref like, oops, I forgot where I got my master's degree situation like we had a couple weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
This is completely and totally small dick energy by some referee who's like, oh, like I hate my life. I'm going to take it out on this kid who's really good at the basket hoops and is getting a quality education. Fuck that.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with the NCAA? Like,
A lot of things.
if you read this rule, there are so many players who could be thrown out. Okay, so
By
again,
the way, it's written a headband in theory
yeah,
would be a head decoration.
a headband, a face mask, because technically it's headwear.
Yeah.
What the fuck is
You could argue in theory that cornrows are because they have a rubber band at the end of them to keep them tight. Like you could argue that a cornrow is a head decoration.
Yeah. Yeah, or even like small earrings, things of that sort too. Which, okay, maybe earrings you have 5% of a case of, oh, well, if it hits the ear and it goes back and it hits, and but for fuck's sakes, what is wrong with these people? Like, if okay, just reading the rule to the T, decorations, headwear, helmets, and jewelry are illegal. What about a tongue ring? What if somebody has a fucking tongue ring? You gonna force them to take it out with fucking pliers too?
By rule, yes. But does anybody enforce it? No. And so let me give you an example, right? So I coached at a pretty high level Division II. This past weekend, we played the number 2 team in the country, who is the defending national champions in Division II, at their place. We lost that game because we got absolutely fucked by the officials. They influenced the game more than any official ever should. Now, what I'll say is like there's certain things that go on in sports that just kind of go like overlooked, right? So, like, for example, in lacrosse, and here's where I'm going with this. What you do is you sub through the midline. So lacrosse is free flowing, right? You bring a player off on defense and put an offensive midfielder out on the defensive side. So then one of your D middies runs over the midfield line, he subs on, and then he comes back to the box to get the defender back on. LR's coaches, sorry, the team we're playing's coaches are not used to losing to teams who are ranked below them. So they decide to influence the game. We have a defender in the box subbing off. Our midfielder comes off. They start chirping at the official about the fact that it's a delayed substitution, which makes it illegal, which by rule, yes, you are correct. Nobody calls this ever. It's just not a thing that's called. This ref should not have been at a game of this high of a caliber. He should have been reffing a Division III game in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with two teams that don't matter.
Middle
Long
school.
story short, the refs decides to make this call that it's an illegal substitution. We turn the ball over, come back, get scored on. All I'm saying is there's certain rules in sports that just don't need to be enforced. They're there because every now and then somebody will do something ridiculous. In that case, like if your defenseman's just standing in the box for 5 minutes, you're trying to get him to clear up box side and you sub him on late to double the ball in the clear, yeah, that's a penalty. You shouldn't do that. If you have a nose ring that like goes from here like around your head and comes back to the other side, yeah, that shouldn't be allowed. These are more of like, hey, use your common sense. You don't need to call it and influence a game. Your job as a ref has never been to influence a game. Just don't let people do stupid shit. But in this scenario, one ref out of the three, and somehow, maybe it was the crew chief allowed this to happen. It was like, it's been a quarter. I just saw their nose doesn't have, it has a hole with a jewelry in it. And the jewelry cannot be allowed because the thing that happened, you have to get out. Like, what the fuck are we doing? It's a Sweet 16 game. Mm-hmm. What are we doing?
Yeah, at this high caliber of a game, and this is not a nose ring like you described. This is a little fucking thing.
Yeah, tiny.
Yeah, like you have to kind of be looking for it, right? And let's be clear, because of this call, physical damage happened to this player. They literally had to get pliers. They had to get tools to rip it out. We're not exaggerating. We say rip it out. Okay. So, just imagine if you have any, fucking jewelry or anything like that, that because you're playing in a game that you are getting a scholarship to represent your school for, and B, maybe getting some NIL money, somebody at Hidalgo's level probably will, that some ref who, maybe went through a week of training, maybe went through like a reffing combine, tells you, okay, if that, you have to take this out. You can't take it out mid-game because, okay, you've already been playing a quarter of basketball. You got to shove your fucking fingers up your nose to try and unclip the damn thing. And it's a really small clip too. Imagine that doesn't work, and the only way you can get back in there as a star player for your fucking team is to have it ripped out of your fucking nose. What the fuck? In what way is that protecting or enhancing a student's experience going to Notre Dame? I ask all of you that, but in particular, I ask every administrator in the NCAA, including all of the referee unions and referee combines. How is that helpful? How is that enhancing a student's experience by you having to take fucking pliers on a sideline and ripping something out of somebody's nose after they went out of their way to explicitly get permission to use it? Done.
Well, so the article that we read and the research we've done doesn't specify this. I would imagine, and I'd have to think, every year there's one rule where officials going into the season say, hey, this is like the official association says, this is the point of emphasis for this year. And as soon as you say point of emphasis, refs here like, oh, well, I got to call it every time or I'm going to get fired. For men's lacrosse this year, it's contact to the head and neck area is the point of emphasis.
And that
So,
makes sense.
yes and no. Now, the issue is we don't give examples, and that's where I'm going with this. So,
Mm-hmm.
for men's lacrosse, if you touch the head or neck area of a player on the opposing team, you're getting a 2 minute non releasable penalty, period, which means it doesn't matter how many goals they score. Take hockey. It doesn't matter how many goals they score on this power play. You're still on the power play until the 2 minutes is done. We played the number one team in the country. We were 3-3. They called a 2 minute non releasable on us. It was very questionable. We gave up 3 goals. The next thing you know, we're down 6-3 because that was the point of emphasis this year. I can almost guarantee you that the point of emphasis this year was jewelry in the head area, whatever the case might be. If not, that makes the story even more fucking ridiculous. But I want to just for a quick second here, because you talked about this last week. I want to give a old man wag of the finger. Fucking wag that shit. At Oregon State's coach, Scott Ruick. Rook. Because one of two things happened. Either it was a point of emphasis, which if that's the case, I find it hard to believe that she played 35 games with nobody bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was a complaint from Scott Ruick saying she has a nose ring. She's really good. You can't do that. And that's when they decided to enforce it. Now, the reason why he gets a wag of the finger is because if he did that, his response after the game was he said he had no idea why she left the game and credited his players with disrupting her shot the way they'd done against top shooters all season. And I quote, I just think our length and our discipline to stay in front of her was disruptive, like it was last week for Jazz Shelley and has been. I mean, Juju Watkins went 6 of 32 in Gill Coliseum this year for the exact same reason. Bullshit. That's not the exact same fucking reason.
That is a planned response.
Juju Watkins didn't have 5 minutes in the second quarter. Sorry, 4 minutes, 9 seconds, where she literally had something ripped out of her body to then have bleeding stopped, to then have to go back in and figure out how do I knock down a jump shot with everybody keying on me as the best player on the team and defense in my face. So Scott Ruick, you know what? I don't know if you had anything to do with this. You might be an innocent bystander. Fuck you, dude. There's no fucking way you're an innocent bystander here. That's like fucking saying, hey, I know that this stick's illegal, but I'm going to call a stick check anyway. I know she has a nose ring. Nobody fucking calls it, but Mr. Official, you have to do it. Here's the rule. Rule 27, Article 9, Section 7 says that's a headpiece. Fuck you, dude. You're trying to get a better job, and I respect that, but fuck you. You fucking knew what was going on.
Yeah, big facts there. Big fucking facts. And okay, I'm going to say it again because that fucking response, that was planned. If you were pulling out specific stats from another random instance where this happened, I'm sorry. That's fucking planned. A. B, if this was one of the rules that the Referees Association said that they were going to start harping on, then start doing it on the men's side too. And it goes back to the first point that I made. You're being sexist fucking assholes here.
I just can't imagine there was a point of emphasis if she'd made it 30 something games before they finally said something about it. Like it's definitely, and the fact that it happened in the second quarter to me would say that it wasn't something the refs just decided on. It's that Ruick went up to them after a shitty first quarter. And I don't know what the stats were after the first quarter. I really don't. But I would imagine it was probably a closer game than Ruick would have liked. And so he goes up to them at the end of the first quarter and goes, hey, that nose ring right there, it's illegal. Coaching high school lacrosse in Colorado last year, the point of emphasis was eye black. Your eye black was allowed to be one stripe. And it couldn't go lower. It couldn't go in. One stripe, period. So I made my guys not wear eye black, period. But if I was a piece of shit and I was losing because my team sucked, in the second quarter, if I was losing and their best player had eye black that was like down and over and all this shit, I would have been like, sir, that's the point of emphasis this year. You know it's illegal. They can't do it. They have to leave until they fix it.
Okay, you were on to something. I don't want to kill your role too much.
You were on to something.
Okay, so Oregon State, Notre Dame. After the first quarter, Oregon State was leading 17-15. Notre Dame in the second quarter was starting to come back and ultimately won that quarter 16-15. So I think you were on to something there about, hey, maybe this might have been like some sort of like momentum killing type of thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If a player gets hot and she's obviously their best player, you have to find a way to take their player out of the game. You can say it has to do with your length and your defense and all that shit. It doesn't. At the end of the day, you bitch to the refs. You said, hey, this is illegal. And some ref was too big of a pussy to stand up for themselves and said, oh, no, you're right, sir. I'll go ahead and let them know they can't do that now because that's a rule. Never mind. Everybody else has earrings in. Nope, she can't do that. Sorry, it's got to come out. That's what he said. But I mean, I'm the official. That's what I said. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's a really fucked up situation. But at this point, we could bitch until the cows come home, but nothing is really going to change that. And far be it from most of us to, want to pull for Notre Dame to win anything. But
No,
here,
I would rather the Beavers get that done, but that's just myself personally. And it made for a lot of memes about the fact that the next round they got South Carolina, so it was Beavers versus Cox to go to the Final Four.
USC, go Lady Cox. Let's go.
The Lady Cox against the Lady Beavers.
Yeah. So, having that in my like holster, I am even more jazzed for that game. I can't wait to see the real USC women's basket hoops team destroy Los Beavers. And with that, let's go ahead.
That already happened.
Well, yeah. Well, it's going to happen on national television, and you don't have to put the kids to bed early.
It already happened, which is my point that we have no idea when it comes to women's basketball what we're talking about. USC already got that win. Let's go.
Hell no, we have no idea. I have no idea. I really don't. It's baseball season. I'm sorry. I am somewhere else with
USC is in the Final Four. They already beat the Beavers. Let's fucking go. Beat that Beaver.
Damn fucking right. So with that, let's go ahead and head into our Nardo Wick Poetry Slam portion. So Jay is going to start us off. Jay, what is your submission for the Nardo Wick Poetry Slam piece for this week?
Yeah, I have one of me and Stotzi's favorite rappers of all time, if not our favorite rapper of all time. And this is actually a good song too, but it's by a gentleman out of Jacksonville, Florida by the name of 2 Chainz.
Who?
And this song is called I'm Different. And he goes, when I leave the scene, bet your boo gone. Pull up to the scene, but my roof gone. And I beat the pussy like a new song. Boom. 2 Chainz, but I got a few on. Everything hot. Skip lukewarm. Tell Shorty busted open, Uncle Luke on. Got the present for the present and a gift wrapping. I don't feel good, but my trigger happy. Bet the stripper happy. Bet they wish they had me. And I wish an inward would like a kitchen cabinet.
I'm sure it makes more sense.
And me and you are cut from a different fabric. I fucked her so good, it's a bad habit. Damn, with just the N capitalized. Don't understand that one. Bitch, sit down. You got bad addy. Give her the wrong number and a bad addy. You ain't going nowhere like a bad navvy. See what he did there? I got that one. Ass so big. Told her to look back at it. Whoa. Look back at it. Whoa. Look back at it. Then I put a fat rabbit on the Craftmatic. I am so high. Attic. I'm so high like a addict. See what he did there? Fucking wordsmith. Voice of a generation, Titty Boy 2 Chainz.
Wow. Deep is all we could say about this week's Poetry Slam so far. Yeah. So this is it's so deep of a cut, nobody knows about it. I mean, not even Jay. Jay and I have been best friends for like fucking almost 20 years now. He doesn't even know this one. He really doesn't. He has no fucking clue.
I have no idea.
And he doesn't know how close to home this really fucking is. All right. So this is by somebody who you've never heard of. I can almost guarantee it. Not just Jay, but you at home.
I don't know many rappers, yeah.
Yeah. So this is by a person known as the artist formerly known as Caramel Waters.
Caramel Waters?
The artist formerly known as Caramel Waters. And this is kind of a parody on the song All I Do Is Win and it's called "I Can Never Win" by the artist formerly known as Caramel Waters. All right, been
Yeah.
waiting a long time for this.
What you got?
Uh, yeah. So welcome back to the world. Yeah. So I can never win no matter what. Got losing on my mind. I can make it up. And every time I step in the building, nobody's hands go up,
Down.
but they stay there and they
Down.
say leave and they insist. Not up, but down, not up, but down. Because all I do is lose, lose, lose. And if you're going in, put your hands in your pockets, make them stay there.
I appreciate
Yeah.
the fact that they insist. That's very
Oh no,
hardcore.
they do insist.
They
So
insist quite a bit. Yes.
yeah, so there you go. The artist formerly known as Caramel Waters coming back after a 20-year hiatus. Yeah, coming back to give you some of that sweet, sweet poetry as
Can
they
I
in the
can
beginning.
I take us on a very random side note for a minute here, and it has nothing to do with anything we're talking about?
I love it. Let's do it.
All right. So there's a lot of conspiracy theorists in the world, and I don't know how Nardo Wick got me here, but here's where I am right now. I've had some alcohols in my life, and I'm feeling pretty good. There's a lot of conspiracy theorists in the world, right? And some of them have more ridiculous conspiracy theories than others. I stumbled upon one this past week, and it caught my attention because it's like seeing Gravedigger in a Texas Roadhouse parking lot. You can't look away. There's a gentleman who is supposedly an astrophysicist, a physicist by the name of Rupert Sheldrake. And
Rupert Sheldrake.
Rupert Sheldrake.
How many trust funds does he have?
Well, wait until you hear what he claims. He claims that all entities within the known universe are conscious, including planets and stars, meaning that Mr. Sheldrake claimed that the sun is conscious. So, like in his eyes, in theory, when the sun sets, basically it's the sun's choice to set because he's conscious and says, I'm deciding to do this right now. We're going to go ahead and make this happen.
I'm going to challenge you on that one. The
Okay.
sun the sun doesn't set on itself. The sun is always fucking there. The sun sets to us on this
Right.
planet.
But all beings are conscious, which means the earth is also conscious, meaning the earth is turning its back on the sun. So really, I guess the earth is setting the sun in this scenario.
Well, let's just heat up a different side.
It was disproven. It was shown to be false. But the fact that this guy, it's a fair question. The fact that this guy has made a living off of being a astrophysicist and his fucking claim to fame, Rupert Sheldrake, is that the sun is conscious. We can all be fucking pyramid schemers if we really want to try.
Hey, so where we're going with this, dear listener, is keep your dreams. We can make them happen. All right.
The world can make them happen.
Although it may decide to set on your dreams, and at that point, nobody can help you. So get a better fucking dream. But speaking of dreams, I think that actually ties it very well to the next segment, where we have another person who is dreaming big. Okay. So obviously, as backstory, we're going to head to beautiful Boulder, Colorado. Big announcement this week of a young man chasing his goddamn dream. That young man, an absolute no name, NFL Hall of Famer, Warren fucking Sapp.
Fuck yeah.
Warren Sapp has, oh my God, this story is so fucking stupid. It hurts. He has accepted a graduate assistant spot for
How old is he?
It starts with a 5 and ends with a 1. Holy shit. He has had 11 years of colonoscopies and he's going back to be a grad assistant. But hey, you know what? This is about chasing dreams. If planets can feel, Warren Sapp could be a goddamn GA in college football.
He's trying to get his dream job of, I don't know, whatever master's degree he gets to.
That would be something to look up. What is he going for at CU Boulder for his academic degree, or is he just a graduate assistant for general studies?
Football studies.
For the oh my god, did they get Dr. Lou too? He's now a faculty.
Dr. Lou 101. He's a GA for general prime studies.
They call him Dr. Lou.
Dr. Lou.
All right, kids, we gonna talk about it different.
That's actually exactly what he sounds like. Dr. Lou is coming for you just like that. Imagine a zombie Dr. Lou, a Zomblue, if you will. And Zomblue's just like staggering behind you, like, oh, brain, oh, get the brain, oh, grave digger, oh, brain.
They call him Dr. Zombie Lou. Zombie Lou.
Zombie Lou.
Yes, all right. 51-year-old Warren Sapp was hired. And as a graduate assistant, as we've said, Warren Sapp, during his which, by the way, when I was granted a graduate assistantship, I did like a very rudimentary Facebook Live where I was like, yay, I'm going to be a grad assistant at Ithaca College. Yay. And it was like a post. It wasn't even a video, but there was fucking media here for this, in which Warren Sapp said, we building mansions here. That's why I'm here, to help you build your mansion as a graduate assistant. All right. Like, I didn't know he was like William Perry in new masonry work. What is this? He might not have been literal there, folks.
There's also no mansions in Boulder, Colorado. It's a small mountain town.
It is a very expensive small mountain town.
Incredibly expensive small mountain town, which is why there's no mansions.
Yeah, the land costs more than any mansion could. Okay, so in this whole scenario, it took us 5 minutes to explain that Warren Sapp took a GA at CU Boulder. So let's actually get into the prompt. 2 parts. The first part, is Coach Prime good for college football in general? Not, let's just take it vague or big here, not just with the Warren Sapp GA stuff. And then the second part, which we'll get to in a little bit, but a preface, will Coach Prime ever win a title? So let's start with, is Coach Prime good for college football? Jay, what do you got?
So I need to preface this by saying I love Coach Prime. I really do. I love everything about him. I love his charisma. I love how fucking ridiculous he is. I love that after they beat a shitty TCU defense, which TCU won, I think, 3 games last year, he's like, yeah, we kept the receipts. All y'all trying to cash us in, we kept those receipts.
We're going to give them to a tax accountant.
None of my players know how to do taxes, so we're going to give them to the accountants. I need to preface this by saying that I fucking love Coach Prime so much. But is he good for the greater landscape of college football? No, not even a little bit. I think that all the shit he embraces, and look, I watched season 1 of Coach Prime I think it's on Amazon Prime. Prime. I don't think they've released season 2 yet, but I watched Coach Prime season 1 when he was still at Jackson State, and he cares about his kids a whole hell of a lot. He really, truly does care about the well-being of his student athletes. I don't think he's a very good coach. I don't know if he doesn't know the game because he's just too athletic to ever have to learn it, or if he just doesn't coach. I just don't think he's a good coach, period. And so there's a level of that of, you can be a really good recruiter, which he is. He is arguably the best recruiter in college football. Now, especially now that Saban's out, the best recruiter in college football.
Hands down.
But is he good for the game? I don't think so. I think he's a gimmick. I think he's a stunt. And I think Warren Sapp being signed as a GA just goes to my point here that I think he's all show. I think he's all flash. I don't think there's any substance behind it. You got ranked in the top 25 because you beat TCU, who's the reigning runners-up. They graduated their entire team. They finished, I think, 5th or 6th in the fucking Big 12 this year. They're not a good team. And he brought in 82 young men, I think, in the transfer portal last year. He's bringing in a lot more this year. From is it good for the game perspective? And I understand we've gotten to a point now where the game is the transfer portal. If you bring in 40 to 50 kids in the transfer portal every year, That's not good for the game because that means you're replacing 40 to 50 kids who are now transferring out to other institutions, which the ultimate goal of football and of NCAA lacrosse and or NCAA sports in general is to get an education. I just don't think that's happening. I don't think if Travis Hunter or if Shador don't go to class, I don't think they're being punished or disciplined for not showing up. And
That's
maybe they're
not
perfect
unique to
students.
Colorado.
And I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying it's not unique to college football in general. I understand that. But if the question is he good for the game? No. I think a guy like Kalen DeBoer is way better for the game. I think he's doing the right things, whereas I don't know that Coach Prime is. I think just bringing in these big names and making all these scenes is super entertaining. And again, I love him. I love the fucking circus that is Colorado football, but I don't think it's good for the game or the NCAA.
All right. So I'm going to disagree with you strongly on this.
I hoped you would.
I'm going to start this off with a question, and it's kind of rhetorical, and I'll get to what it is in a little bit. But you know who Coach Prime reminds me of? Bill Belichick with the Cleveland Browns.
How so?
Bill Belichick with the Cleveland Browns came in with the same mentality as almost every other NFL coach and sucked ass. He was awful with the Browns. Somebody could have shot him in Cleveland and nobody would have seen a thing, even if everybody was witnessing it. Okay. But he learned from that. He adapted from that. I think right now we are seeing a Coach Prime that at a very tumultuous period in NCAA football is at the forefront of changing it in a way that's going to benefit him in 5 years. All right. I see him as he's starting to understand the administrative process of coaching. All right. As a head coach, okay, if you are hiring people that are dumber than you to run parts of your offense, defense, special teams, transition, and lacrosse, goalies, what have you, if you're hiring people who are dumber than you, then you're the one who's really a dumbass.
Agreed.
100%. And right now, I think his first season at Colorado, he did that. He hired mostly people who were dumber than him at football.
We brought a lot of his staff from Jackson State.
That too.
The staff at Jackson State is not a Pac-12 FBS Power 5 staff. It's just
no, it's not. It's not. And let's be honest, you know, that the first year of any coaching staff coming in with such a dramatic change, no matter how many 5-star and 4-star recruits you get, even through the transfer portal, you're going to have a rough time with this. Absolutely. I think, and especially
culture trumps talent at the end of the day. It just does.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. And I think he's done a good job of starting to build that culture. But right now, he's getting a Hall of Famer to come in and coach his D line as like kind of an assistant behind the scenes guy. He's starting to get it. Of this is how we can build a program moving forward. Look, the NCAA soon enough is going to be completely different than the NCAA that you and I grew up with, regardless of my unstable internet. It's going to be completely different.
Well, it already is, and you're frozen. Your internet's going insane right now.
Mm-hmm. I know. Lindsay's probably watching porn. Who knows? But yeah, I mean,
it's beyond unstable. It's just stupid at this point.
It is just blasting Miley Ray Cyrus and the back of a downward dog grave digger. But yeah, I mean, for this, I think Coach Prime.
I'd like to imagine that when Coach Prime goes home, he also blasts Miley Ray Cyrus
in the back of a downward dog.
I just said I'd like to imagine when Coach Prime goes home at night, he also. How unstable is your internet right now? I'm trying to say things, and it just doesn't want it to happen.
I know. I'm actually kind of hearing you every once in a while, but that's okay.
I just simply said that I hope when Coach Prime goes home at night that he himself blasts Smiley Ray Cyrus and just fucking gets loose to some gravedigger downward dogging.
Oh, he does, baby. He does. Okay, so
completely frozen.
No,
Oh,
not
fuck yeah.
again. Not again. But is Coach Prime for college football? I'm going to preface this with kind of two parts. Right now, is he good for college football? No. In 5 years, is he going to be good for college football? He is going to be the Nick Saban of college football in
But
5 years.
but does winning championships make you good for college football though? Because I guess like, will he ever win a
Well,
title? Is question two here.
yeah, okay. So we'll save that. But was Nick Saban good for college football?
Well, it's funny you ask, and I didn't actually save this for today's conversation, but I'm going to bring it up here. Derrick Henry came out this week and talked about team meetings under Nick Saban being something else. Quote, Nick Saban would yell at his players, I'm tired of y'all scoring and praying to God, and 12 a.m. comes and you smoking black and mild and drinking.
Wow.
So I'm
What the
simply
fuck?
saying he's paraphrasing Nick Saban's thoughts on touchdown celebrations. I'm simply saying, was he good for college football? I truly believe at the end of the day, and part of this is he had so much talent there he could, but I truly believe he was a guy who had so much talent that if somebody fucked up royally, he would suspend them, he'd cut them, he'd get rid of them from his program. I don't think every coach is in that same boat. And I'm not saying Saban was always that way. I don't know when he was at LSU or before that if he would have been the same way. So I guess it's kind of what you're saying. But to that point, when he was at Alabama, I actually do think he was good for college football. He wasn't a guy who went super heavy into the transfer portal, which isn't to say he didn't hit some transfers. He did, but
Well,
he
he hit a
wasn't.
lot. Yeah.
But he also had a lot of homegrown talent, more so than most other teams in the position he was in.
I mean, he would just take 4-star recruits who were going to be great anyways, but had that chip on their shoulder, sit them for a year and tell them, well, you got to wait your turn. And then they would be hungry to fucking go. That was his whole thing. I don't think that's good for
But point of
football.
that being is that's not a transfer. That's homegrown talent. I'm just simply saying that I just think he did it differently than a lot of other coaches out there. Like, I think he's a guy who, yes, I do think he was good for college football.
I think defining good here is probably a, a good idea. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you're saying that good for college football would be more trying to develop the athlete instead of meeting them where they're at currently. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
And of course he's out, so enjoy the image of Gravedigger. Um, but yeah, I mean, if that's how you define good for college football, then yeah, probably Coach Prime is not good for college football because he's trying to get the kids that can maybe last a little while in the spotlight, which obviously, you know, they didn't have the season that they really needed to have this year, which was quite unfortunate for Prime. But if you look at the donors and such, which honestly, that's going to lead to a lot more success in college football moving forward than just having a namesake coach who doesn't do anything. They're building up to a very successful team. And I mean, come on, like what defensive lineman right now wouldn't want to play for Warren Sapp, even as an assistant coach, right? That's a huge fucking deal. Like the kids that are coming out now, their parents are about, Jay and I's age. And we watch Warren Sapp destroy people
Oh, 100%.
every fucking Sunday. He
And
would fucking eat people for breakfast. So
it's worth
it's
mentioning
gonna be
too that
great.
their weaknesses last year at the end of the day were their D line and their O line. Those were the two biggest
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses they had.
Not anymore. I'm telling you,
Not
Warren
now,
Sapp is
really.
going to do big work there. But okay, so we could agree to disagree. So number two, and this is more of a yes no type of coin flip, I guess. Will Coach Prime ever win a national foosball championship?
I truly don't think so. I think that recruiting is incredibly important. I think that you have to have very, very, very good position coaches and coordinators around you. And I think all of that is stuff Coach Prime will do. The difference, though, is culture. And while you see Coach Prime's culture as a good thing, I don't. I don't think there's a lot of discipline within his culture. I think he really, truly does care about his players. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy who's going to focus on the little details enough. There's a certain level of like, if you're the best player in the world, sometimes, not always, sometimes you struggle to coach like high school or college kids because you're like, well, you just do this and it works. And they're like, well, coach, I'm not athletic enough to do that. I can't do that the way you did it. It's like, no, you just jump over him, you grab the football, and that's an interception. Like, coach, I don't have a 40-inch vertical. I can't just jump up and pick that ball off. And they're like, right, but that's just what you do. I see Coach Prime kind of being in that way to some extent. And again, I love Coach Prime. It's not a shot towards him at all. But I think there's this level of coaching from Coach Prime. There's a reason you never saw him coach a kid one time in season one of Coach Prime. I don't think he coaches, period.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he'll ever have the culture to win a national championship. I think he'll make an NCAA playoff. I really do. I think he'll get to the, especially now it is going to, we're going to 8 or 16, whatever we're going to. I think we're going to 8. Especially now we're going to 8. He'll definitely make one. But I don't think he'll ever win a national championship. I just don't think he'll ever have the culture to do it.
All right, so we disagree again. And it's almost like for this opposite reasoning.
Okay.
Well, just thinking about it, so I think Coach Prime will win a title. I think he'll win it at Colorado at some point. I think it's going to be years down the road still. I think with the NIL deals coming in, with the transfer portal being what it is today, and how important it is to success, I think that you're going to have a much larger attrition rate in college head coaching for football in particular and basketball too
I
than
agree
you've
with that.
ever had before. All right.
No,
I
I
mean,
definitely agree with that.
we lost Nick Saban because of it, and he said it, basically
Yep.
point blank. How many other nameless but probably attention to detail or detail oriented coaches? How many of them have quit because of that?
Well, and you saw it this year. So University of Michigan just fired Juwan Howard for the same reason. Juwan Howard, phenomenal player. When John Beeline's recruits were there, he went to a Final Four with John Beeline's recruits, but he didn't have that attention to detail. And now he got fired. And who got hired? The Florida Atlantic head coach, who I actually
Mm-hmm.
think is going to be really good at Michigan, because to your point, he focuses on the little things, making the most out of talent he has, recruiting, all those kind of things.
Well, I think where I'm getting with this is I think eventually that attention to detail is going to be degraded enough to where Coach Prime and his recruiting tactics are going to overcome that.
Okay.
I think that's going to happen at some point. Basically superior firepower is my argument there.
I just think when you're facing against that gets you into the top 5. I just feel like once you're in the top 5, if you don't have the coaching to match up, it's just, I don't know. Like, I just feel like yes, but at the same time, Alabama will always have that level of talent. Fucking Florida State right now with Mike Norvell will always have that level of talent. I just think there's always going to be another team who's just as talented, and it's going to come down to the little details.
Yeah, I think it will come down to little details for sure. But going kind of back to the point that I made in the first part, where it's like, okay, he's learning to hire people who are smarter than him at
Yeah.
positions. I think
Well, because he
eventually
finally
he could
can.
get them too.
No, and I agree with you on that. And I guess the next hire he needs to make after this year, because he's brought Warren Sapp in for the line, he needs to hire a former all-pro quarterback, because the reason he is arguably the reason
Joe Flacco.
he's in, yeah, fuck yeah. He's still playing, bro. Arguably the reason he's in the position that he's in right now is because Shedeur Sanders is his quarterback, who happens to be his son. Arguably, and this isn't taking anything away from Coach Prime, arguably he could have gotten the same level of talent, but he got a 4-star recruit as a quarterback in Shedeur to come play at Jackson State because he's his dad. I would make the argument that if Shedeur the timing lined up. If Shador wasn't ready to be a freshman in college the same time he took that job, Coach Prime wouldn't be in the position Coach Prime's in now.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I mean, you need to have some success to establish yourself early. And if you have a son who's pretty goddamn good at the
Oh,
football,
it's
then
genius. Absolutely. Coach Prime might be arguably whether he's not a good for the game. Coach Prime is the smartest coach in college football when it comes to business decisions. That I will say.
he operates a lot more like an athletic director that is good at their job, I would
Absolutely.
argue, than
He's
a
a
head coach.
South Carolina high school football coach because they also happen to be the AD at every high school down here.
Well, good at their job or not, that's a discussion for another day, I think. But at the end of the day, I think we could both agree Coach Prime, very entertaining and brings eyeballs to a school that hasn't had any for a very long time in college football.
He's bringing in revenue and he's fucking I mean, yeah, he's definitely the most charismatic coach in college football. I love his press conferences. I really do. I do not watch college football press conferences even for my teams. I'll watch a Coach Prime press conference because you know it's going to be great.
I don't watch him for University of New Mexico because I don't want to know who got arrested that week. So,
It's fair.
is what it is. But anyway, so let's go ahead and move on that happy note to our Giuseppe Stromboli Redo of the Week. This week, we're unofficially sponsored by the Noted Toaster. The Noted Toaster. Yeah, why don't you guess what that is? Anyways, in honor of the famous remake of, some wizard book out of the UK, we honor the pool playing bang noodle wielding absolutely from New Jersey Wizard with our new, I was about to say New Jersey Stromboli redo of the week.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
New Jersey Stromboli. It's actually his Ron Weasley. It's his sidekick. It's Giuseppe Stromboli and New Jersey Stromboli.
And they're not brothers either. He just adopted his last name. He's like,
Yeah.
fuck you, I'm New Jersey Stromboli. Yeah.
They're on the Quidditch field, and Giuseppe gets bumped by somebody from Jersey Slytherin, and New Jersey Stromboli flies up and he's like, "Hey, why you hitting my boy? You want me to cut you so good? Oh, I'm gonna cut you so fucking good. Fucking touch my boy again, motherfucker.
I'm gonna fuck up your gabagool," says New Jersey Stromboli. So unofficially, again, sponsored by the Notes Toaster. So hopefully you've thought about what the Notes Toaster is instead of imagining Ron Weasley as being named after New Jersey, from New Jersey. Okay, so before we even get there, to give the audience more time to think about what the fuck is the Notes Toaster. Okay, so imagine, all right, this year I think they're doing the Jersey Shore reunion. Imagine
DJ Paulie D. I just see as Ron Weasley now as
no. Leave
Jersey
it as
Stromboli.
Leave it as all of those guys, but then the actor that plays Ron Weasley just shows up.
Okay.
And he's like the new person.
Well,
How I would tune in every fucking week.
Did you ever see when they gave Michael Cera a makeover and they basically just spray tan him and blew his hair out? It'd be like that. It'd just be the redheaded Michael Cera.
Except everybody hates Michael Cera.
Well, now everybody can hate the guy that plays Ron Weasley.
Wingardium, fuck your hair, Osa. Let's go. All right. So anyway, so the Notes Toaster now, time's up for that. So the Notes Toaster, ever had something truly special to say, but just didn't know what to say? Why not do it on bread? With the Notes Toaster, you can say what you need to say without actually having to say it. It's like a text message, but for toast.
I usually make these scripts ahead of time and then I forget and then I get drunk and they make me laugh. And isn't that the ultimate fucking gift, is to make yourself laugh?
Our ultimate goal with this was to just entertain ourselves. So anybody else is really just...
Oh, it's working. It's working well.
Oh god. And I forgot there's a quote after. So quote, because toast is a culinary masterpiece that deserves only the best technology.
The Notes Toaster said that. That wasn't even me.
Oh wow. So compliments of the Notes Toaster there. So you want to paint the fucking Mona Lisa on bread, you want to freak out your family members at church, the Notes Toaster, make it fucking happen. All right, so this week we head across the pond to Suffolk, England, where a guy who I can only imagine was birthed from a collision across the multiverse. A person named, and I'm going to say this in a Bane voice, Wayne Parker, and is on the run from the law. All right. So, Suffolk, England, Wayne Parker. He's on the law, on the run from the law and loneliness. Mr. Parker was on the lam due to over $1 million. $1 million, Mr. Powers, but in fraud. The 35-year-old farmer had evaded police capture until one day the loneliness got to him. I'm so lonely without Mini Me. So surround me. So Mr. Wayne Parker did what any lonely criminal would do and join Match.com, which means he paid for it.
Well, he's got a lot of money that he stole, so that makes sense. I mean, the logic's there.
Yeah, so he had the money burning a hole in his pocket. So, despite police recognizing that this was Mr. Wayne Parker, he continued to evade police capture somehow, even though the police were like, I know where his Match.com date is. It's over at the sushi house. Well, Ted, I don't fucking want sushi again, you pig fuck. I want pizza.
I want to go to the Texas Roadhouse and see Gravedigger, you motherfucker.
Do they have Texas Roadhouses over in the UK? That have Gravedigger at them.
If not, they're missing out on a lot of monster truck action.
Dude, can you imagine that? The first ever Texas Roadhouse opening. Okay, it's in the outskirts of Linden, and so all these people who are from Linden are all dressed up like, oh, yes, I cannot wait to see how the Americans eat. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. And then fucking Gravedigger comes up. It's just like got hydraulics. It's just fucking like, who wants bread, motherfuckers?
It's like, do you want your steak Gravedigger style? And they're like, well, I do like the American culture. Why not? And they just throw it in the middle of a pit, the fucking parking lot, and Gravedigger just drives over. They're like, here's your steak, Gravedigger style, motherfucker.
And some guy in the back is fucking like grilling up some mushrooms. He just starts throwing them at whoever gets the steak. Just fuck you. Here's your fucking mushrooms. Welcome to a fucking America. Yeah. All of that was not part of the description, by the way. So despite police recognizing that it was Mr. Parker, he evades police because, hey, there's difference in food opinion over in Europe, okay? So it's a big thing. So in this scenario, you're Mr. Wayne Parker. You want to find love, but avoid the 5-0. How do you find your future lady criminal wife? And I guess you can use the whole, well, just go wherever the cops aren't eating bit, because we kind of threw that out there already. But how else would you do it?
No, I'm going to make it a lot simpler here. Do you know what team is in Suffolk, England?
Oh, what team is in Suffolk, England?
Ipswich Town. Now, they're not a Premier League team, but they're somewhere in the leagues below them. If I'm a criminal, chances are I like crime. I like debauchery. I probably like violence. I like all the things above. So what I do is I dress in an Ipswich Town fucking jersey. I go to a game, and whoever they're playing that day, it doesn't matter who, regardless, I walk over into their supporter section and I just go, hey, fuck whoever that is. They're going to start throwing fists. I'm going to start throwing fists. Next thing you know, I'm going to have backup, because when it comes to hooliganism, there's always backup. That's just how it goes. You got to support your homie. Whichever young lady is the most attractive that comes to support me is just throwing fists and spitting at people, and probably spits at me by accident at one point because we're on the same side. Whoever that happens to be, that's my future wife. Like, yeah, I don't know what England names are. We're going to go with Rebecca here. Yeah, Rebecca, you really threw some great uppercuts, and then you hit me right in the eye with that spit that you spat at me. I think that's the play there. That's really the way to find love without getting caught by the cops, because the cops are going to be so distracted by everybody else in this giant brawl that they're just going to go ahead and basically throw down and say, hey, all you people fighting, we need to arrest you, not the guy known as Wayne Parker, Parker Wayne. Him and his future wife are just out now. So basically, get in fight, supporter section. She spits. Hey, you're pretty. Now we go fuck supporters and hooligans for life. That's my answer.
That's a fair answer, and that would have worked probably 20 years ago. I'm going to tell you what's going to work today.
Damn it. What you got?
All right. So, have you ever had English cuisine?
I've been to Big Ben, which has English breakfast.
Okay. So, have you ever had food without salt or pepper on it?
Not by choice.
Okay, but you've had it.
Yes, but not by choice.
Okay. Okay. So now you're familiar with English cuisine, generally speaking. Of course, there's fish and chips and other things that over in America, I feel like we do a lot
General
better with.
Tso's chicken, right?
Generally, yes. Yes. But
Yes, the English cuisine.
yes, but there is also another cuisine over in the UK that is very popular, and that also comes from the inhabitation of India. All right, so curry is big.
India.
Yes, yes, home of Triple R. Which if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Anyways.
Which, by the way, today is the 4th. Monkey Man came out today, and I am so fucking excited to see that movie.
Oh fuck, it did. I know what I'm doing after this. But anyways, so you have so in my scenario, I'm just gonna skip to the point where, okay, I found my lady criminal wife, whose name is going to be MJ Catwoman. Why not?
It's a great name for your lady wife.
well, yeah. It was. I don't know where it came from. No hints given. Anyway, so what I do is I'm noticing that the police are going oppo almost every night of where I eat, but eventually I'm going to want something with salt, pepper, maybe some spice. So every night I'm going to start going to the second spiciest curry joint in all of Linden.
Is that Shawnee's Curry Shack?
Well, I don't know. I didn't really look it up, but whatever the locals say is the second spiciest, not the spiciest.
It's not Shawnee level spice. That's fair.
Because the police are always going to go there and be like, okay, well, I'm bored. Like, where are we going to go and eat tonight? And then every night I am enjoying fine cuisine with Miss MJ Catwoman every fucking night. Oh yeah, he's frozen as shit, which means I'm frozen as shit, which means my internet is as unstable as MJ
You're
Catwoman.
frozen as a motherfucker.
Hell yeah, let's go. Let's go. But yeah,
Caramel
so that's
Waters is fucking frozen in the caramel water right now.
well, yeah, I was, formerly known. But that's exactly how I'm going to avoid arrest and just continuing to enjoy my life. Just go to the second hottest. That's all you got to do.
I like it. I always have two options. I've only thrown one out. I have a second option too, and it goes back to our plastic negotiations days, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
Let's go.
All right. So back in the days of plastered, we talked about there was a gentleman who I think he was in China. He got in a hot air balloon and he went up and he couldn't figure out how to get down. And basically, we're like, how do we get this guy down? We talked about instead of sending stuff down, we send it up. And then, we talked about sending like Bengal tigers into the sky. I'm going to reverse that for a minute here. If I'm a criminal and I know that the police are looking for me and I just need to find a fucking lady bride to come spend her life with me, and it doesn't matter where, I'm going to get in a hot air balloon. But instead of going up, I'm coming down. I'm skimming the surface like 10 feet above, like just far enough up that where like a normal cop can't jump up and grab onto my balloon. And I'm just like, I don't know how you say it in English terms. Hey, you buggers, who wants to join me on this hot air balloon ride? I don't know how you say it in fucking English terms. Whatever that is, that was not the accent.
What the fuck was that?
That was like Australia meets the deep south. But point of this being is I'm like, hey, who out there likes David Beckham? And always like, ooh, me. And then you just put your arm down and grab the most attractive one. and pull her into your hot air balloon, and then you go 15 feet up so that a horse drawn fucking cop on top of a horse also can't grab you. See, there's a risk reward situation here.
Mm.
So 2 for 2.
Oh yeah, 2 for 2. Let's fucking go. Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly how you get away with crime, especially if you're Peter Parker meets Bruce Wayne, which
Yep.
really in this scenario, we miss the most obvious, which is you are Spider Batman. So,
You're Bat Spider Man.
yeah. So your parents and your aunt and uncle die. Wow, that is
It's a
dark.
rough life.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder why there's never been a superhero. Now it makes sense. None of them came from that rough of an upbringing. They're all okay.
So in this scenario, Bat Spider Man, he definitely kills people. He's just that fucking enough. He's just, Joker comes out like, hey, well, I got the Joker gas, and just fucking right in the fucking head. Just takes a fucking shot, man. There's no way after all that you're just like gonna be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna kill people. No fucking way. Not a chance in hell. All right.
Well, arguably, neither do Batman or Spider Man to begin with. Depends on which you see. But yeah,
Yeah, but if you combine them, I'm telling you, that's too much trauma.
that's a lot of drama and trauma.
Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. Just like we've had a lot of fun this week on this rendition of Floral Foolishness.
Sports!
Oh, yeah, where it's always island time, your official home to dumbass news. We thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. As always, I'm the artist formerly known as Caramel Waters, joined by the Dragon Wrangler, Jeremy Phelps.
If you need any information about women's basketball, you know what podcast to find it on.
Any other one than ours, unfortunately.
We'll give you more information on it. It might all be wrong, but we'll give you a lot of it.
I won't know what just happened in the tournament, but then again, I don't know what happens with basket hoops. Okay, before we sign off, I didn't even know the Final Four was coming up. So I learned something today. We hope you learned something too. Anyways,
before we sign off, I didn't know the Detroit Tigers were 4-0 until today, and yet they'll find a way to fuck it up and not make the playoffs. So fuck baseball.
As always, you stay tropical, boring Oregon.